Hello, my learners. Welcome once again to another episode of our virtual lesson. This is on English language and for Basic 5. And we will talk about verbs. Under grammar, we will talk about what? Verbs. And what are we learning under verbs? We are learning to identify the two kinds of verbs. We are learning to identify the two kinds of verbs. When we talk of verbs, we have main verbs and helping verbs. We have main verbs and helping verbs. So, but before we move on to the kinds of verbs, I want to take this as your starter. Take this as your starter. What is a verb? What is a verb? Yes? Okay, I know you're going to tell me that. A verb is an action word or a doing word, or even the state of being or the state of being. I know I have confused you here. State of what? Being. So when we say action words are always what? Doing words. When we say action words, they are also what? Doing words. Okay? When we say action words are also what? Doing words. Because any action word that you mention right now, you can also do it. Example, run. Run. It's an action word, right? Can't you do it? You can do it. You can do it. When you talk of walk, it's an action word, right? It's an action word, right? And it's what? Also a doing word, right? So when you say walk, it's an action word. And you can also what? You can also do it, right? And mention more examples for me. Mention more examples for me. Jump. Okay. Another one. Take. All these, you can do it. And they are also what? Action words. But when you say state of being are the words we use as a helping verbs. As what? The helping verbs. Example is another one. Then we say are. And don't forget to bring this one, am. So a verb. So the verb, the state of being, these are is, are, am. And the past tense for them are what? Were and was. Were and what? Was. So these are what? The state of being is, are, am, were, was. They are what? Also verbs. But we call them helping verbs because they help the what? The main verbs to perform the action. Okay? So today we want to talk about the kinds of verbs we have. The kinds of verbs we have. The main verbs we have, the two kinds of verbs we have are transitive verbs and then intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. When we say transitive verb, when can a verb become transitive and when will a verb become intransitive? A verb can be transitive and can also be intransitive. So let's talk about transitive. Let's talk about transitive. You see, a transitive verb expresses an action that passes over from the subject to the object. Transitive verb expresses an action that passes over from the subject to the object. When we say subject, then you the one doing the action. Example, example, he is dancing abaja. He's dancing abaja. Okay, he's dancing abaja. You, the one doing the work or doing the action is what? The subject. So you are the subject. The one performing it is what? Is the subject. And the main action is what? Is dancing. The main action you are performing is what? Dancing. And the object becomes what you are doing. The object becomes what the object becomes after the verb, right? After the verb, what is happening? What is happening to something? The thing is happening something is doing the thing. And what is happening to? Someone is doing the thing or the action, right? And what is the action happening to? The action happening to an object, right? It's happening to something. And that thing is the object. The action is happening to something, and that thing is what? Object. The one performing the action becomes the subject, and the one also, the one performing the action is what? The subject, and what the action is happening to becomes the what? The object. Okay. When we say a transitive verb, then we are saying that the verb is having the subject and also having the what? The object. The verb. Someone is performing the action, and the action is happening to someone. When you see that, then we say that the verb there is transitive verb. Okay? When you see that someone is performing the action, and the action is happening to someone, then we are saying that that verb is transitive verb. Okay? Then we say that verb is what? Transitive verb. Let's take some examples. Abena sings a song. Abena sings a song. Abena is the subject, and then sing is the verb. So this verb is transitive because it's happening to someone, something, right? It's happening to something. Abena is doing the action, and the action is happening to what? Something. Okay? The action is happening to something. Then we say that the verb there is transitive verb. So when you see this verb, it becomes what? Transitive verb. Another one, Kofi reads a book. So Kofi reads a book. Kofi is performing the action, and the action is happening to which one? A book. Kofi is performing the action, so he's reading, he's doing the thing, right? And doing what? Something. The thing is what? A book. So Kofi is doing something, which is the verb, and Kofi is doing the something, and something, that thing is happening to. The verb, the action there is happening to something, and something is what? The object. And every time you see the verb, the subject, and you see the object, that means the verb there is what? Transitive verb. Okay? It's what? Transitive verb. Okay? Another example, Osafu was playing on the ground. So Osafu, someone, he is the person doing the action, and was playing now becomes what? The verb, the action that is happening. The action that is what's happening. So we call it what? Verb. And then this one is the subject. And then the action is happening to which one? The ground. The action is happening to the ground. So the ground now becomes the object. So anytime you see that, there is subject and there is object, and the verb is there, then we say that that verb, that is the verb performing or the action happening. And when it's happening to something, you see the verb there is now transitive verb. It's what? Transitive verb. Now let's talk about intransitive verb. When does a verb becomes intransitive? When does a verb becomes intransitive? When the verb expresses intransitive verb expresses the verb which does not pass over from the subject to an object. Which does not, take note of this, does not pass over from the subject to an object. Okay? You see, the verb can be self-contained action. Self-contained action. The action is happening all right, but it's not passing over to something to an object. When that thing is happening to the verb, then we say that verb is intransitive verb. Let's take examples, okay? Let's take examples. The baby beats. The baby beats. The baby is the subject, and the verb is the beats. So the baby beats. Is the verb here is happening to something? Is it happening to something? Is it happening to something? We say that the verb is not happening to anything. So this verb become what? Intransitive. Intransitive. The verb is not happening to anything. Someone is performing the action all right, but the action is not happening to anything. Then we say that the verb there is intransitive. Another one, the color of the dog is brown. The color of the dog is brown. This is the verb, and the color of the dog is and is brown. This brown here is adjective. We are talking of what? The color. The color is brown. The color of the dog is brown. So there is nothing happening again. The is now just telling us that the dog color is what? Brown. Like you are a boy. You are a boy. So this one, when you say you are a boy, you are a boy. This you here is not performing any action. It's performing action, but the action is not happening to anything because we are referring to you as a boy. So this is not object. Okay? This is not object. So we are saying that the verb here now becomes what? Intransitive. Because it's not transiting the verb to any object. It's not transiting the verb to any object. So we see it's what? Intransitive. Okay? Intransitive. So yeah, there's nothing happening. The thing is happening, the dog, the color of the dog is brown. We're just telling the color of what? Of the dog. And the action, there's no even action performing. Right? Another thing, the ship sank suddenly. The ship sank suddenly. We are just telling you how, or how, when, or how the ship sank. So this also becomes what? Adjective. This becomes what? Adjective. So it's just telling that the ship sank suddenly. How the ship sank. Okay? Tell you, so this is also intransitive. And Mansa was laughing. Mansa was laughing. So if Mansa was laughing, is the action happening to something? Is the action happening to something? No. Mansa is the subject, all right. But is the action happening to something? No. So this becomes what? Intransitive. Okay? This becomes intransitive. So what have we learned today? We have learned the two kinds of what? Of verbs. We have said that we have transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. And we said transitive verbs, they transform the verb or transit the verb to an object. They transit the verb from the object, the subject to the object. But the intransitive, the subject perform action, all right, but the action does not happen to anything. The action does not happen to anything. So I want you to just study it carefully, okay? And then when you study it carefully, you still understand. You understand the two kinds of verbs, okay? So we meet again in our next video. Goodbye.